I remember the release of LEGO Batman 2 DC Superheroes like it was yesterday. There was a lot of buzz and excitement surrounding the game, at least from fans of the LEGO series like myself. I had enjoyed the first LEGO Batman a lot. It was the perfect blend of so many different incarnations of the character, all lovingly wrapped in the goofiness and silliness the LEGO games had been known for. But with LEGO Batman 2 in 2012, everything changed. Gone were the days of silent characters, only making the odd grunt noises here and there. Now they each had their own voices, in cutscenes and during gameplay, provided by many notable voice actors. Troy Baker as Batman, Charlie Schlatter as Robin, Travis Willingham as Superman, Christopher Corey Smith as the Joker, and Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor, reprising his role from various projects within the DC animated universe. Having been the 12th LEGO game developed by Traveller's Tales in the span of only 8 years, this was a much needed change to their formula, because the silent stuff just wasn't cutting it anymore. It was getting stale. Giving these LEGO figures voices not only made them feel more three-dimensional as characters, but it also allowed Traveller's Tales to incorporate a wider variety of humor into their games, not just rely on slapstick and sight gags alone. The story mode would naturally have more layers to it as well, which made everything far more engaging than it had ever been before. In my opinion, while not the best LEGO superhero game that has come out as a whole, LEGO Batman 2 does have the strongest story, compared to all the rest. I don't know if it was because Traveller's Tales were exhilarated to finally have all these tools at their disposal or what, but it seemed like they pulled out all the stops with LEGO Batman 2's narrative. The story of the game starts out at an awards ceremony being held in Gotham to commemorate the Man of the Year. Lex Luthor ends up losing out to Bruce Wayne before the ceremony is violently interrupted by the Joker, who accepts the Man of the Year trophy on his own behalf and begins his own twisted acceptance speech. He leads a band of criminals, Harley Quinn, the Riddler, Penguin, and Two-Face. Thankfully, Batman and Robin arrive, defeating each of the villains one by one throughout the theater. The battle leads to a chase sequence with the dynamic duo in hot pursuit of the Joker, who had commandeered a speedboat, which ends at the entranceway of Gotham Funland in Amusement Mile. The Joker is defeated, and he, along with all of the other villains, are incarcerated at Arkham Asylum. Their imprisonment is short-lived, however, as Joker is broken out of Arkham by Lex Luthor, using his new kryptonite-powered weapon called the Deconstructor. It has the ability to deconstruct black Lego bricks, and Joker uses it to free the rest of the inmates at the asylum, leading to an entire level set on the asylum's grounds, within a maze-like structure. You get to build various obstructions in order to make the villains crash their vehicles they're driving around, and eat shit. It's hilarious. Back to the Deconstructor, though. It's a simple idea, but I think it's a genius element of this game's story. Because it's powered by kryptonite and can disassemble shiny black bricks, which Batman's entire arsenal is made up of, it effectively targets both of the main hero's strengths, Superman's raw abilities and Batman's gadgets. LEGO Batman 2's narrative focuses primarily on Batman for the first chunk, but it eventually incorporates the rest of the Justice League characters by the end, hence the game's subtitle, DC Superheroes. Throughout the story, Batman is being pushed up against a wall. His vast resources have essentially become useless thanks to the villains and their Deconstructor technology. I love how he is forced to utilize multicolored bricks instead of black ones for his Batmobile and other such vehicles and devices. Not only is it just funny to look at, but it shows you the lengths in which he is trying to adapt and overcome the challenge blocking his path forward. As the game progresses, you realize that the opposition Batman is faced with is too much, even for him, and slowly he is forced to ask for assistance, most notably from Superman, even though Batman is kicking and screaming the entire time, trying everything possible before accepting the fact that he needs help. Stubbornness goes hand in hand with a character like Batman, and I think this game portrays this notable characteristic of him brilliantly, even if it is exaggerated for laughs. The reason Lex Luthor has chosen to side with the Joker in this game is because he believes the clown can help him be elected president of the United States, which has happened a few times in the comics over the years. They end up building a giant Joker robot that can fire deconstruction beams and disperse laughing gas, which will sway voters into voting Lex Luthor president. Much like a lot of the comic and animated appearances that have depicted Luthor and Joker teaming up, the two argue with each other frequently throughout the game. Luthor is very controlling and calculated, whereas the Joker plays by his own rules and is unpredictable with his actions, so they are never really on the same page with each other, not entirely at least. At one point, Luthor wants to kill Batman to take him out of the equation, but Joker refuses because if he died, there wouldn't be any fun anymore. It's these kinds of disagreements and tension that cause the villains to lose at the hands of the Justice League in the end. Like I had mentioned, LEGO Batman 2's story focuses on Batman and Robin at the beginning, but slowly starts bringing in the other members of the Justice League as well. Superman is the first to appear early on and becomes playable in several of the levels. The Man of Steel is impervious to all damage, indicated by his Silver Heart's health bar. He can build LEGO objects at super speed, can see through walls to solve puzzles, can melt through gold LEGO with his heat vision, extinguish fires and freeze water with his super breath, and use his immense strength to pull things. But the game does provide a few instances where he is weakened by kryptonite if he gets too close to it, or needing another character to disarm kryptonite-powered force fields, so it's not always a cakewalk playing as him. There's even a level near the end that has him unable to fly or attack quickly, due to being exposed to a larger concentration of kryptonite on the back of the giant Joker robot. Thankfully, Batman is there to save the day and catch Superman for a change. Ah, best friends forever. The other members of the Justice League, like Wonder Woman, Flash, Cyborg, Green Lantern, and Martian Manhunter are all here, but unfortunately, they don't become playable until the very last level, Manhunter only being shown in a few cutscenes, and not the actual level itself. Aquaman as well as Hawkman are unlockable characters, not featured in the main story mode, but can be selected when replaying levels or when free-roaming the central hub world of Gotham City. And speaking of Gotham City, oh man, was this one of LEGO Batman 2's main selling points. Coming off the coattails of the incredible Batman Arkham City, LEGO Batman 2 was one of only 3 Batman games at the time, if you're including Arkham City's walled-off portion of the city, to feature a fully open and explorable 3D Gotham, one of only 2 that allowed you to drive the Batmobile within it, the other being the incredibly ambitious yet flawed video game tie-in for Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin, released for the PlayStation 1 in 1998. You heard me right, Batman and Robin from 1998. It took them 14 years and 2 more console generations before they attempted an open-world Gotham again, which seems kind of ridiculous and long overdue. Kudos to Traveler's Tales for finally making something like this happen. You can also fly around as Superman, which is something very few DC games featuring the character can say they've done, and done well. Despite this being a silly and kid-friendly LEGO game, I think LEGO Batman 2 has one of the best Gotham cities we've seen in video game form, even to this day. I like the visual style of it, all the flashy colors, and the use of all the notable landmarks like Axis Chemicals, Arkham Asylum, and Wayne Tower, just to name a few. Several additional villain characters can be unlocked by defeating them across the city, acting sort of like side missions in a way. They are stationed at landmarks associated with them, like Hush at the Gotham Hospital, Killer Moth at the power plant, or Two-Face at City Hall. Some of them even reference the earlier Batman movies, like Penguin being at the Gotham Zoo, like in Batman Returns, the Riddler being at the Wayne Enterprises building, like in Batman Forever, and Mr. Freeze hiding out at the Gotham Observatory, like in Batman and Robin. Metropolis can be seen in the distance, on the horizon, but you wouldn't be able to go there fully until later DC LEGO games. There is a level in LEGO Batman 2 that takes place in Metropolis, specifically LexCorp, but to get there, you just fly off the coast of Gotham a certain distance before a cutscene takes over. It reminds me of that mission in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where you had to hijack and fly a plane to Liberty City. The same sort of thing happens. A cutscene just takes over and teleports you there. Before I end this review, there are a few odds and ends I wanted to address with this game. I love how it implemented new save switches that break up the levels, having your character insert a memory card-like object, remember those, into the slot of these devices. LEGO Batman 2 is much longer than any of the previous LEGO games had been, with a much grander story, so it was nice giving the player the ability to end game sessions partway through levels without having to worry about losing any progress. Though I enjoyed the main costumes for the heroes in the first game, I have to admit they are a lot better here. The suits Batman and Robin wear feel far more modern than the ones from before, which did make sense, seeing as LEGO Batman 1 was inspired by the 1960s TV show and Tim Burton movies primarily. Just like the first game, each hero has several special costumes they can switch out that give them unique abilities to progress through the levels. Some of them are alterations of suits featured in LEGO Batman 1, while others are completely new. But regardless of which suit you have on, they each have multiple applications now, and not just a single use or ability. Out of all three LEGO Batman games, at least the ones that have been released thus far, who knows if there will ever be another, this is my favorite suit system implemented. I think each outfit has a strong combination of useful abilities. The puzzles involving them are really fun, and appearance-wise they all look really cool in their own ways. I think at this point the whole idea of the costume system still felt new and enjoyable, but sadly by LEGO Batman 3 I think it had overstayed its welcome, getting blown way out of proportion, but I will discuss all of that in a future video. And finally, let's not forget a quick shout out to the Scarecrow, my favorite Batman villain. I mentioned how I felt the character had been misused in LEGO Batman 1, but here, not only do you get to fight him within the city, inside of a giant pumpkin at Gotham Funland, but he also serves as a boss during the events of the main story. You battle him within the walls of Arkham Asylum, and the fear gas canisters he throws at you cause your vision to become disoriented, with him growing larger and larger with each one that enters the room. As you begin venting the gas, he shrinks in size and is eventually defeated. This encounter was one of the most memorable from LEGO Batman 2 in my opinion, and made up for the lackluster appearance Scarecrow had made in the first game. So, LEGO Batman 2, a great LEGO game and an even greater superhero game. It improves on everything LEGO Batman 1 had introduced. Mechanically, its gameplay feels a bit more refined, the costume system far more layered and enjoyable, the character roster beefed up a little bit, and the open-world Gotham, as previously mentioned, was very ambitious and revolutionary at the time, which seems crazy coming from a LEGO game, but it's true. If you've never played it before, I would highly recommend LEGO Batman 2. I think it has enough stuff in it for fans of all ages, young and old, to enjoy, and features one of the strongest stories in any of these LEGO superhero games. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video, and I hope you found it insightful and entertaining in some way. If you'd like to support the channel, think about subscribing and hitting that bell icon to be notified of all the future content I release. I will see you all in the next one. Take care, and always stay nerdy.